streets of Cincinnati. Welcome to the jungle! Let's go. Stripes, 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 yeah, stripes, 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 yeah. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and stripes. Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle dripping heat, tigers strike the city streets. East side stand up, west side stand up. If you reppin' who day, time to put your hands up. Bingo stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Who they in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we lit it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the pounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Stripes. Now who wanna move close and on? Stripes. Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange upon 'em, bingo bottle, never stop it till the beast on feastin' on 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move close and on? Now who wanna move on? All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I'm bringing you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of Jackpot Joey Burrow, the playoff-bound Cincinnati Bengals, and the number 4 team in the country, the University of Cincinnati Bearcat football. Now, do me a favor, if you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button, smash that thumbs up. I'm up to 1,417 subscribers. That is awesome. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Now, as always, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so. Go to the YouTube channel, Sports with Strawberries. Hit the bell for the notification. Hit the button for subscription. And every time I go live, you'll be notified. Also, exclusively in the YouTube chat, we're doing super chats. So if you'd like to support what I'm doing or make sure your comment gets read, please give me a super chat. I would greatly appreciate it. Now I'm coming to you live from the Ice Cave, and the Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out their website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. All right, let's get into this. University of Cincinnati Bearcats are still at number 4. The Bengals have got a huge game. Now, this is a big game. This is coming from Zac Tayler. A big game coming up this Sunday versus the Los Angeles Chargers. I have to make sure I say Los Angeles Chargers because I still want to say San Diego, but the Los Angeles Chargers. Let's get into this. Let's get to Josh from Back Row Bengals. Josh, what's going on, brother?
Oh, Jeff, how sweet it is to be a Cincinnati fan. So excited to be on here. Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem, man. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on between the Bengals, the Bearcats, Luke Fickle, all kinds of stuff. So let's get into this, man. Where's your head at with the Bearcat football right now? As going into this weekend, they're ranked number 4. You've got the possibility of should happen. Alabama should lose to Georgia, and then you have the possibility of Oklahoma State potentially jumping us because they would have a back-to-back if they win. They'd have back-to-back wins. They were top 25 teams. What's your opinion on that? If everything goes right and Alabama loses and they're out and Oklahoma State wins, do you think Oklahoma State jumps Cincinnati, or do you think Cincinnati moves up to 3?
No, I don't. I think Cincinnati moves up to 3. I think this committee has shown that they do actually have great respect for Cincinnati. If they would have shown us that Oklahoma State had that chance, they would have shown that quite a bit ago. They would have shown that Oklahoma State actually has a legitimate chance to jump Cincinnati. A lot of people want to use the TCU comparison when it comes to Cincinnati. A couple years ago, when TCU was number 4 going into playoff weekend and then got jumped at the last week, which sucked. But here's the thing about that. TCU also didn't play a number 6 team in the country. The TCU also didn't have back-to-back undefeated seasons, and this is going to be the capped off year with the conference championship. So I think that comparison's a little bit lazy. But I understand that as a Cincinnati fan, I understand that heartbreak comes with that territory. I get that.
Yes.
But this committee has shown that they trust this team. This committee has shown that they think that this team can actually win in the playoffs. So I'm not too worried about it. I think if Georgia wins, even if Oklahoma State wins, it does not matter. UC slides into 3. And I'll say this, even if Alabama finds a way to win, which I am kind of scared about a little bit, I still think UC stays at number 4.
See, now that you brought that up, now that scares me because I will flat tell you, I think that's the worst case scenario for the Bearcats. Because if for some reason Alabama figures out some way to win, Georgia and Alabama are both in. And if Oklahoma State wins, that's where I have a bad feeling that they're going to move. They're going to jump the Power 5 Big 12 champion over an American conference champion. I even if we are undefeated, I just have a bad feeling. I don't trust the college football playoff committee. I won't feel completely relieved, and that's why I say relieved, until we get to the final one. And Bearcats are in there at 3 or 4. So I'm not real sure what would happen, but I'm very scared if Alabama were to somehow pull out a miracle and beat Alabama this weekend.
Understandably so. I completely get that. But here's the thing. I am going to disagree with you here on this, Jeff. I do think if they would have had Oklahoma State over Cincinnati, and it would have hinged on that Bama game of Cincinnati getting in, they would have already had UC at 5 probably a while ago. And especially they would have had it at 5 this week here.
I will give you that. They've had multiple chances to knock down Cincinnati, and they haven't done it. So that's where I've said this on my show, that I will give the college football committee credit for that they have not done it yet.
Right.
But there's always a first.
Right. Exactly.
It's Alabama. And to me personally, I don't think Alabama, for the longest time, Alabama was ranked 2 in the country. I've never one time thought Alabama should have been the second ranked team in the country. I mean, there's been times where I don't think Alabama should be in the top, even to be in the top 4. I mean, let's be honest. They lost to a unranked Texas A&M. They barely beat a 4 or 5 overtime game against I think they're unranked Auburn.
Yep.
I mean, they've had a lot of close calls to be ranked as high as they are. So to me, that's where I'm like, the college football playoff committee has this love for Alabama, and they're dying to get them in there.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'll say this though, and this kind of got broken down to me, and it makes total sense. Yes, they do have a love affair with Ohio State and Alabama. They do. They have a fetish for them. It's really creepy. But that being said, if Alabama only had 1 loss and they won out the rest of the way, wouldn't they be 2 anyway? They won if they lost once. Won the SEC championship game against Georgia. Wouldn't they be in anyway?
Yeah,
exactly. So it's not really that big of a surprise.
But they
especially
didn't.
coming down the stretch.
That's the thing. They haven't. That's where I'm like.
They have won out.
They haven't won, but I mean, not this year. They haven't won the SEC this year as well.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. But I'm saying if they do win, they're going to be in anyway.
Yes. If they do win, they're going to be in. And so is Georgia. And that's right. They're not going to kick Georgia out. I don't care. No. Georgia is in no matter what. There's no way they're kicking Georgia out for 1 loss to Alabama, which I don't think they're going to beat Georgia. I think Alabama's going to win. So
Yeah,
that's
right.
but that gets me to the point where that scares me, because
Mhm.
I mean they'll put both of them in, which I know that we both agree that they will. And then
Yep.
if Michigan wins and Oklahoma State wins, that's where I get like, oh, I don't know. They could jump it. They could screw us and kick us out.
Listen, I understand that completely, but I'm holding on to the belief that they would have put Oklahoma State at 5 this week or I'm sorry, at 4 this week if that was a possibility. And also on top of that, the committee has had the absolute opportunity to kick UC out of either that 4 or that 5 spot when we've played our worst ball. They're not
Mhm.
going to do it when we're playing our best ball. And the seniors' last game in Nippert Stadium on a conference championship game against Houston for a chance to go to the playoff in a rocking Nippert Stadium at 4 o'clock. They're not going to play their worst ball. They're going to play
Oh
their
no, they're going to
absolute
ball out.
best ball.
I'm
They're
not worried
going to
about the
ball out.
Bearcats winning. Yeah, they're going to ball
Exactly.
out, and
Exactly.
especially with everything that's at stake here. Which I'll
Yeah.
get to that in a minute. Let's get to
Right.
Crown. Crown has a pretty good question here, and this is chaos. What happens if Michigan, Alabama, and Oklahoma State all lose? Then UC's definitely
So,
in.
right. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. UC's definitely in. I mean,
Right.
that's a great,
Yeah. Chaos. I
that,
mean,
yeah, that's
is Ohio
absolute
State
chaos.
in? Is
Ohio State being here's the thing. Ohio State being at 7,
Uh-huh.
they've pretty much said no matter what happens in the Big Ten championship game, which, by the way, Iowa could beat Michigan.
Yeah,
Iowa could beat
well, let's
Michigan.
say if Iowa beats Michigan, does Iowa jump all the way up and get in?
Iowa's
I
got
mean,
3 lo-
if
Iowa's got
if
3
chaos
losses,
happens
right?
like Crown just said, I mean that's
Right.
what I think it would take. But if all those games,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah, I would say Notre Dame I would say UC moves up to 2.
oh, absolutely, then yes,
Notre Dame would either go to 4 or 3, and then the committee has to make a decision.
right,
Do they put in a 2-loss Big Ten team? Like, do they still put in Michigan somehow at
yeah.
number 4? Do they go back and get Ohio State, which I think would be really hard because they didn't play a conference championship game? Do they go with a 2-loss Oklahoma State team? That's going to be a game that's going to be a scenario where the committee's going to have to make a lot of decisions.
And it'll be how interesting would it be? Just, I mean, I don't think Notre Dame. We're talking hypothetical stuff here. I don't think Notre Dame's going to get in. I really don't. But how
unless that happens, unless
all that happens,
scenario
yes.
happens.
But they would be in there without a coach.
Yeah, right. And I was listening to ESPN today, and they said that the committee is allowed to take that into consideration.
Well, to me, they should because
and they should.
If Brian, and I understand it's a bag of money he got, but if you really thought your team had a chance to go to the college football playoffs, you really going to leave them? I mean, that's where I'm like, I don't think Brian Kelly thinks his team's all that good. That's the reason. I mean, I know $95 million is a lot of money. It's a bag of money to turn down, but that's where I'm at with Luke Fickle. I'm like if when they win Saturday and they're going to the college football playoffs, this is where I am holding out hope that I don't see him leaving the University of Cincinnati to go to Notre Dame because they're on the verge of playing the college football playoffs. Therefore, that's why I don't think Brian Kelly thought he has a very good team and they had a chance to do it. That's one of the reasons he left, along with $95 million.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to Luke Fickle here? Because I do have some thoughts.
Go ahead. Let's go to Luke.
Okay, so obviously Luke Fickle, the rumors of him going to Notre Dame are swirling all over the place. He's a nice big old Catholic boy, which a lot of people love to use. They love to use that he's Catholic. That now that he has to go to Notre Dame,
you're Catholic. You have to go there.
You have to go to Notre Dame. Okay, so I'll give you a take that I feel like I have yet to hear anybody else make. Notre Dame has a ceiling. It's the same way that UC used to have a ceiling with AAC, but now they're going to the Big 12, and that they're cracking that ceiling this year in a Group of 5 conference. That UC doesn't have this ceiling. And I'll tell you why. Notre Dame may have that money, and I get it. It's money talks. I get that. But not being in a conference is massive.
Mm-hmm.
Recruiting out to South Bend is not the same that it meant 20 or 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That Notre Dame network, that money that they're getting from the TV network, from ABC, it's not as much as these Power 5 conferences are getting now. And then you got to look at that. So does Luke Fickle want to go to a place where he has to pretty much be perfect? Because Notre Dame not playing in a conference championship has burnt them in the past, and it'll burn them in the future. And if
it's burning them this year by losing to us.
Burning them this year. Because let's think about this. Let's say Notre Dame was in the ACC. Let's just say. and UC played a team, let's say, that was equivalent to Notre Dame. Let's just say, for sake of argument, let's say Michigan. Let's say
Mhm.
they went into the Big House and won.
Right.
So now the Bearcats are 12-0, and then Notre Dame lost to a team to UC's equivalent. Let's say Oklahoma State. Let's just say, for sake of
Right.
argument,
Right.
you're telling me that if Notre Dame wins out the rest of the way and then wins in their conference championship, that Notre Dame still would not be in the playoff.
No, Notre Dame would be in because they're in the Power
Right.
Five. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's the whole
So
key.
exactly. So basically meaning that if Notre Dame wants to get back to the playoff or get back to relevancy, they pretty much have to go undefeated, which is the
Mhm.
same that he would have to do at Cincinnati anyway. And then
Exactly.
right. And there's a lot more scrutiny at Notre Dame. I mean, they don't mess around. They want winning coaches, and that's it. Like if he goes and he doesn't win, they're gonna want him out of there within the next 2 or 3 years. And pretty much this is Luke Fickle's program. He's built this from the ground up. He's got a $10 million practice facility coming his way. He's going to the Big 12 where he doesn't have to worry about not being in a conference.
Mhm.
Recruiting in Cincinnati has been much better than recruiting in Notre Dame. You're recruiting out. I don't know if you were out at South Bend during the game and saw the campus. Campus sucks. Campus sucks. I unless there's a lot of monuments and cool stuff and the cool buildings, but like other than that, campus sucks, especially for student life. We were talking to students. We are like, "Where's the nearest bar? Like,
Yeah.
all
Oh,
of them
dude,
said there's
the funny thing
nothing.
is, you go to Notre Dame, you cross that river. It's crap. When you cross
Nothing.
that
There's
river, there's
nothing at all.
nothing there. I
Right.
I mean, as far as student life goes, UC Clifton is way better.
Yeah.
There's all
Right.
kinds of stuff to do
Exactly.
there. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And then lastly, and I'll let you talk. I know I've been rambling
No,
quite
you're
a
gonna
bit.
keep going.
Then one more thing about Notre Dame versus the rest of let's just say college football. You got to start looking now at NIL deals. When you look at NIL deals in Cincinnati, the businesses, it's basically a small business mecca. These players can pretty much just as soon as they jump in, even some of our smaller recruits are still getting NIL deals from businesses all
Mhm,
across
mhm.
Cincinnati.
Right.
South Bend is not even close to what UC has in terms of small businesses for NIL deals. That's what
Mhm.
players aren't looking for. And
Absolutely.
you get players that are in, probably not great monetary situations or not great financial situations. They're going to be looking to get that money. And first of all, number one, I is as open as I am all for NIL. All
Yes.
for it.
Yes. Me too.
100% all
Yep.
for it. So
Absolutely.
right, exactly. So instead of going to Notre Dame and not getting as many opportunities for an NIL deal, you come to Cincinnati and it could be a huge mecca.
And
So that being said, I don't think Luke Fickle would leave to Notre Dame. I think if he did, even though the money is there, financially it'd be there, I think in terms of success, in terms of winning, and in terms of championships, he would not experience the same thing that he would at Cincinnati.
now, one thing, another point I want to bring up. This is what I brought up yesterday. Is you don't have the academic restrictions at UC
Except
as you
yes,
do at Notre Dame,
no,
because
yeah,
there are just we'll just be honest. There are
mhm,
players that the 5-star recruit players, potential NFL players that will not go to Notre Dame because they can't get
correct,
in because of the academic restrictions, and
correct,
that is for years was a big problem for Notre Dame in recruiting guys, and it still
mhm,
is. That's
still is,
when they go, yeah, when they go and they actually get into the college football playoffs and they get into the national championship game, they've got their doors blown up because they don't have the speed, they don't have the talent, they don't have the
right,
guys to keep up with the players that Alabama can get, and that's where I'm at with you. I agree with you on everything you said. Where I think personally, there's a better shot for Luke Fickle to win a multiple national championships if he stays with UC and he goes to the Big 12. Because let's be honest, let's just look at Lincoln Riley. He jumped
mhm,
ship. He left. He went to USC. My opinion, one, it's a ton of money. It's always about the money. But two, why would you want to go to the SEC and bang your head against that when you've
mhm,
had a pathway for the last 4 or 5 years? If you win the Big 12 championship, you have a direct shot to the college football playoffs.
direct
He has
shot,
that exact same thing at USC right now. He wins
mhm,
the Pac-12. He has basically a direct shot to the college football playoffs in the
yeah,
same position that he was at Oklahoma. You're going to go Oklahoma, Texas, and the only reason they are moving to the SEC is purely money. It's not
yeah,
to win championships. I know they want to, but you have 4 dominant programs in the SEC.
mhm,
And like I said, LSU just fired their coach after they won the national championship 2 years ago.
2 years ago,
Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to
right,
go there? And so
right,
that's where I'm like, it's sometimes you want to go, I won't say the easiest path, but sometimes you want to work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly. You're right.
that's just a good thing in life sometimes. Just do things the smarter way. Doesn't always
Mhm.
necessarily mean that you're not taking on the challenge. You still be taking on a challenge. Like, look, it's a challenge for University of Cincinnati to go 2 years in a row being undefeated in the regular season. I don't care what conference you're in. That is a hell of an accomplishment. That is
Yeah.
hard to do no matter what conference you're in.
Yeah.
So there are things that you can accomplish at the University of Cincinnati that you can't accomplish at Notre Dame. It's just a fact,
Yeah.
the way
Right.
everything's set up right now. So all that we just said sounds like Luke's not going to go, according to us, but I can
Right.
still see him leaving.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I
Yeah,
still could.
exactly.
I mean, I hate
Oh,
to
yeah.
say it, but I still can
Yeah.
see him leaving. I hope he
Yeah.
doesn't. But the thing
His
is,
yeah, his comments at his presser are. I mean, again, a presser is a presser, and the media will spin it however they want to. But he could have dispelled all of that in one saying, "I'm not interested. All my focus is on Houston right
Mhm.
now in the conference championship game."
well,
But
he
he
never
didn't.
said he wasn't
He didn't.
interested. He just said he hasn't paid attention to it. That's the
Exactly.
key. He never said he wasn't interested.
Now that being said, that could be a reason that Luke Fickle's been doing that, and he did this with Michigan State. I never thought once that he was going to go to Michigan State, even though he may have interviewed. He's using that as leverage so that way UC will extend his contract and they'll
Mhm.
pull in some more money. And Luke is very smart about that. He's very smart. He
Absolutely.
did the same thing with Michigan State, and then he got that. So, but that being said, in my personal thought is that I do not believe that Luke Fickle will go. There's been a couple signs. I mean, you already said at the beginning of the broadcast. It's just. I don't think Notre Dame's going to wait till January. And then on top of that, Notre Dame's already still retaining a lot of coaches. Luke Fickle's not going to go if he can't bring his staff.
Right.
He's just not. He's not going to go unless
Well,
Brady
and to
calls
me,
him by his
that bodes well for Marcus Freeman as being the next
Yeah.
head coach at Notre Dame. I really do think he has legit shot of getting that.
Mhm,
Now
I
let's
think he will be.
now let's just play devil's advocate. And this is
Why not?
and let's say Luke does leave. For me, the first phone call would be to Marcus Freeman, bringing him back here and being the head coach. What's your thoughts on that? I see the eye roll.
Yeah.
I see the eye roll.
Yeah. So here's my thing. I don't know if Marcus Freeman is ready for a job like Notre Dame.
Right.
It's just there's a lot that
There,
goes
there
into
is.
it.
There, I
There's a
agree with
lot.
that.
Brian,
Mhm.
as much as
It's nothing against Marcus Freeman. That's
No,
a
absolutely
big
not.
step. Yeah.
He could eventually
Mhm.
become
Right.
an incredible head coach.
Mhm.
Not saying that.
Mhm.
I don't think there's a lot that comes with being a Notre Dame head coach. It takes head coaching experience. I don't think he would do great there. I think in terms of recruiting, I think if he came back to UC would not skip a beat in
That's
recruiting.
exactly.
I would say that. I would say it wouldn't. I don't think it would be a great idea to hire from within because I don't think Tressel
I
or
don't-
Denbrock are
Ready. Yes.
ready for that as well.
Right.
I think, but I think here's the thing. I do think Notre Dame, their administration does have arrogance, and I think that they
No, really.
right, exactly, and I
We're
think that
Notre
they
Dame.
we're Notre Dame, exactly. We're
Notre
Catholic. We're the
Dame.
best. Yeah.
Eh.
That being said, I think that they think they're like, okay, our winningest head coach of all time is leaving, and we're gonna take who was right under him. But I mean, Marcus Freeman was only right under him for 2 years, maybe. And
No, Freeman was
you
there
and
at the beginning. Marcus.
when-
You talking about Brian
no,
Kelly?
no,
My bad.
yeah,
My
right,
bad. Yeah.
exactly,
Sorry.
exactly, exactly. No, you're fine. So that being said, uh, we kind of talked about it. It was like whose defense is at the beginning of the year, you and I had a conversation about this. Whose defense is this really? Was this Marcus Freeman's or was this Luke Fickle's defense? And both you and I agreed. This is Luke Fickle's defense. And that being said, I think Marcus Freeman is a great game manager, but I don't know how he would be as a head coach.
Yeah.
All
Well,
of
that's the
that
thing
being said.
is, as I agree with that. I think him.
I think he can be.
I
I
think
think
he
he
can be.
can be. Maybe
Yes.
not next year.
I think him taking the Notre Dame job would be a big step. He would almost be skipping a step.
Oh, he would be. Right.
Yeah, you kind of go to like a Mac school or something and do that for a year or two and then move up. It's kind of what
Right.
normally happens. But the way the situation at Notre Dame is, they got hit with a bombshell. They didn't know Brian Kelly was going to leave. And apparently Marcus Freeman has brought a lot of 5-star recruits in himself on the defensive side of the ball, and they don't want to lose those.
Okay.
So that's where I think there's a good shot that Marcus Freeman is the next coach at Notre Dame. And like I said, this is I said this on yesterday's show. I think Saturday's game at 4:00 at Nippert is not only a big game for this season, but a big game for the University of Cincinnati football program moving forward, and how it's going to be shaped. Because I know Notre Dame said they would wait. I don't see Notre Dame waiting a month to see if they can get Luke Fickle or not. Because I don't see Luke when we win. And we get to the college football playoffs. I don't see Luke leaving and saying, "All right, guys, I think what I'm going to do is have fun in the playoffs." I don't see that happening.
Right. Well, yeah, right, and exactly. And that being said, let's remember, it wasn't Notre Dame that said that. It was some media personnel.
Right.
So we don't exactly know what that situation is. They met with Freeman today, then they met with the offensive coordinator today. Let's see what happens. I don't think Luke Fickle is going to go, but there's always a thought in the back of my mind. But I'm not. But at this point now,
we're Bearcats fans. We have the PTSD because all of our coaches always leave for football. They always leave. We've never. Leave. Luke Fickle is the only one that ever turned a job down to stay here. The only one. So that's why we're always like, they're probably going to leave.
Right. Exactly. Bearcat fans aren't used to coaches staying. So. But that being said, I'm not going to let that fester in my mind. We have a conference championship with a chance to get into the playoff, to play a Michigan team that I think is flawed, and I think that this UC team could beat. I was more excited for the matchup against Ohio State. I think we technically matched up better against them. That being said, I still think UC beats Michigan. I think we can go to a national championship, and then at that time, it's 50-50. Let's roll the dice. Let's play Georgia. Let's see what happens.
Now, I will tell you this. If the matchup does happen when we play Michigan, what does scare me, and this has been one of the Achilles heels for the Bearcats and their defense this year, is teams that run the ball well.
Yes.
And Michigan ran the ball like crazy against Ohio State last weekend. So that does scare me, where they're going to have to shore that up. But there's also things where, Josh, that I think those games, I really do honestly think the Bearcats were getting bored. I really do. Because there was a lull in the season. You had a whole bunch of teams that they weren't ranked, but it's just like they didn't put their throat on them and they didn't stomp them out. And that's where I don't know if it's the scheme where they actually do have a hard time stopping the run, or they just got bored. That's where I'm not sure. But the run game or run defense does scare me.
Yeah, and I get that the run defense hasn't been great in some of the games where you said it seemed like the Bearcat defense was getting bored. But I'll say this. I'll say this. When the defense has needed to show up in the run game, they have. And I think, and with Michigan, Haskins hasn't had games like that consistently against Ohio State. He doesn't run like that consistently. Michigan doesn't have that many blowout wins where they look ridiculously incredible.
Right. That's probably the first one they had all year.
Right. And this matchup was terrible for Ohio State. Absolutely awful. And we've been saying it's like this Ohio State defense is incredibly suspect. And we found out that they are. So that all being said, I like our chances against Michigan. I'll be betting UC money line. They might even be I'm seeing a lot of people picking Bearcats.
Like I said, dude, our defense, I've said this before, I'm not scared to play anybody. Our defense will travel, and our defense will keep us in any game with anybody in the country. Now, Natural says, Jeff, do you think UC will open its pockets to keep Luke? Yes, I do. Yes. They are actually working on a contract with him, as far as I know. They've been working on it for a while, and we never get any details at all until it comes out. So
they're very hush. Cunningham and Fickle, and I like that. I like that. They're very hush hush about what they do.
I think Luke likes that too, because Luke doesn't. Luke Fickle doesn't let anything out. No, I mean, every time anybody ever asks him about the college football playoff rankings or other jobs or anything, he goes, I don't know. It's the same answer. I live under a rock. I barely answer my phone. I don't watch the TV. That's the same answer over. Now, if it's true, I have no idea. But that's his stick or whatever. That's his Bill Belichick anymore. He just like, I have no idea. I don't even know what's going on. Unless people tell me. So that's where that's one of the best things about Luke.
I'll say this: if you're a Bearcats fan, you need to listen to the first 30 minutes of this because we have just been so positive and so optimistic. So we are definitely cheering a lot of people up, but it's true. It's true. I and everything I've said tonight, I firmly believe.
Yeah, like I said, I believe everything we said, but again, and not to be uncheerful, I wouldn't be surprised. It still wouldn't shock me if he leaves, but we'll
be
find
shocked.
out.
I would be color me shocked.
After what happened with Brian Kelly, nothing will ever shock me because I did not think Brian Kelly was going to leave. So after that one, I'm kind of like, all right, well,
yeah, but the situation is so much different.
It is. I agree with you. Shocked.
I would be shocked.
Hey, we spared no expenses here on the Strawberry Ice Show. We have all kinds of props and everything.
Exactly.
All right, so we have talked about the Bearcats for about 30 minutes here. Let's break down the wonderful, awesome, epic destruction, curb stompingness of the Pittsburgh Squealers on Sunday.
What an ass whooping, man.
Dude, that was awesome. Like me and Bengals Captain were talking about this on Monday. And seriously, the second half of the game, not that nobody was paying attention, but it was kind of just, we can just chill, relax. This game is over. Right. La. So, hey, how you guys doing over there, right? That's cool. I was like, hey, we scored again. All right, cool. Let's go. Why is Ben still out there? Why the hell are they calling a timeout with less than a minute left in the game? Give me a break. Dude, that game was awesome.
Ass whooping, man. Ass whooping. And it was just, it was years upon years of frustration and anger and hatred unloaded into one Sunday. And I think this is the team that's coming off of the bye that we all said that this team's going to be dangerous off of the bye. They're going to go back. They're going to get refreshed. They're going to figure out their flaws, and they're doing exactly that. Burrow these past 2 weeks has looked much, much better. Mm-hmm. He looks much better. He did throw an interception, which, again, we do want to see go away, but we got it right back with the pick six. The defense was dominant. They weren't scared. Pittsburgh said we punked them, and any time that they got a little chippy, any sort of TJ Watt BS that happened, we were right there.
Trying to talk trash for catching a freaking pass when it's 41-3
on Darius Phillips.
Yeah.
Right. We were choreographed dancing on their graves. Yes. We're doing everything big. And you know what? Steelers. Big Ben looked great on that touchdown pass. You guys should sign him for another year. You should. You 100% should.
Yes, please do. I think you should sign for another 2 years.
This is the antithesis of what is about to come. That's a big word right there. This is
for that one.
We're seeing the Bengals go up. We're seeing the Steelers go down. It is a massive. We're changing of the guard. I mean, they pretty much said the changing of the guard. And guess what? You know what the Steelers did on Sunday? They quit.
They
the same way they did the way they did last time we played.
As Natty says they reconsidered their life choices.
They should have. They should have reconsidered all them damn TikToks, all that shit that they would talk, everything. And I was so sick of it. And guess what? This is 3 in a row on the Steelers. It hasn't been done since '89. This is the first time
you weren't even alive then.
Oh no, I was not. I was not.
I was.
You were.
I was.
So I've never seen it. And it was the first time we've swept them since '09. Saw that one. It's a changing of the guard, and this was no fluke. This was we were better that day.
We were better. We were clearly better in every aspect of the game. Yes,
exactly.
Josh. It was never a game.
It never was.
I'm sitting there. My brother-in-law came to the game with me, and me and him are looking, going, "We're kicking their ass. This hasn't even been a game the whole time. I'm just in shock. I mean, like I said, I thought it was gonna be a close game. I mean, it's an AFC North battle. I always think they're gonna be close games. Both times we played the Squealers this year, neither one of them were close. We kicked their ass both times.
Yes,
and I'm just like, this is awesome. And the thing is, you talk about beating the demons of Squealers past. These players, they don't know that. They weren't here. That doesn't affect them. That affects us. That affects you and me. but that doesn't affect them at all. And that's what the cool thing is. Like, I loved Joe Burrow's answer, and it was across the board with all the Bengals. They're like, what's the significance of winning 3 in a row versus the Squealers? And he's like, we won 2 games. We should win them, but if we don't win the rest of them, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's not that big of a deal. It's a huge deal to you and me because of all the stuff that we went through the last 10, 15 years with this team. But to them, it's just another win, and that's what championship football is. Joe Mixon having his best game of the year, giving all the credit to the offensive lineman, setting up the silly 2-step, setting all that up, having fun. I was doing it in the stands.
Oh man, was that not the best thing you've ever seen in your whole entire life?
Oh, dude, that was the end zone I sit in. It was great. I was up and dancing like, let's go.
Amazing. Oh my God, that was incredible.
I loved it.
I loved it.
All right, let's get to a couple questions here in the chat here. Royal Flush Terry says the ignorance of Ravens fans to say they are clearly the best team in the AFC North is mind-blowing. Yes, now this is a good point. If Lamar throws 4 INTs against us, we are scoring way more than 10 points. Exactly. And I said this on I think yesterday's show. If Lamar gives us four opportunities, we're going to score 4 times. I really do think, because you have to remember, we went to Baltimore and blew the Ratbirds out. That wasn't a close game either. We blew them out. They could not stop Jamar Chase. It's just like the Squealers could not stop T. Higgins. There are too many weapons on this team. You stop one, we got 5 other ones. Right. So that's where I think the thing is with the Ratbirds, if Lamar Jackson doesn't pull something out of his butt to win games, they wouldn't be 7. They wouldn't have 7 wins. And if it wasn't for the refs in the freaking Detroit game where they let them had the extra time when the play clock run out, they wouldn't have won that game either.
God, yeah, right, exactly. Let me tell you this. I've watched the Steelers the past 3 weeks. The dam is about to break. They are not that good. You've seen Lamar has thrown 4 interceptions. They're just lucky that Cleveland is so beat to hell that they can't even move the ball. I'm telling you, the dam is about to break. Lamar can't keep getting all of, not all of the, all of the load, because he is getting all of the load. Because the team around him is really average. That the team is average around them.
Yes.
And the Bengals, and it all goes back to 2 years ago when they drafted. They drafted for one specific reason. Well, number one, they got Joe Burrow, but then after that, they drafted to stop Lamar. That's their biggest antithesis was Lamar. I've used it twice now. They've stopped Lamar. And I know you like that. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
smart boy.
That. Yeah. Yeah, I took the ACT. Hey, didn't do great on it, but anyway. But that being said, when we played them, we did exactly what we thought was going to happen. We stopped Lamar, and we're gonna do it again. And this team, the Ravens are trending backwards, and the Bengals are steamrolling forward. So that being said, there's no way that you could see it in the style of play. You can see how they're playing. The Bengals are clearly a better team than the Ravens are. We've already seen it happen. So that being said, I'm not too worried. I think when Baltimore comes to town, they're going to have a very rude awakening.
Now, I'll say this because people were asking me this last week. When is the Bengals offense going to get consistent? And my thought process was as soon as the offensive line gets consistent. And I think with the addition of Hakeem Adeniji to this offensive line, I think he stabilized it. And I thought Jackson Carman was going to come back, but I'm wrong. I think it's Hakeem Adeniji's job. I think it's his to lose. And I think this offensive line has played much better. And if you look, where did they run the ball last week? The Adeniji side. That's where they ran it to the left side over and over and over and over and over again. Almost every run play was that way. So to me, that's the consistency that this offense has been trying to generate. And going into playoff football, going into December, and it's cold, you have to run the ball. And with what they did Sunday, it's back to the beginning of the year, what they were doing. They were running the ball a ton, mixing in with deep balls to, at the time, Jamar Chase. Sunday, it was deep balls to T. Higgins. That's the formula that worked to get us off to that great start. That's what they got back to. And that's, to me, this is the winning formula that we can put together. And the good thing is the Bengals are healthy. Let's just put it that way too. They are out of
Huge, man.
out of every
Huge.
team in the AFC North, they're the healthiest. Everybody else is
Yeah.
beat to hell.
Yeah, and I was listening to Tony. I want to stay on that. I was listening to Tony and Mo with their football show that goes on Mondays in Twin Peaks. Yeah, you're welcome for that plug, you guys. You bunch of freaking, they won't even have me on their show. But that being said, when Mo was talking and said everybody was really kind of trashing Zac Tayler for taking those days off during training camp when they had 100% attendance in OTAs and they took a lot of days off. I'll tell you this right now. Those off days are paying off right now. They're paying off because now this team is healthy and they're ready to go. And they've been healthy for quite a while. So it's really paying off that this health and those off days. And Zac Taylor's been very, very smart about that. So that being said, all like credit to Zac Taylor for keeping the team healthy. I think I might have lost you, Jeff. You're not moving. Oh, I'm by myself. Okay. All right. So we lost Jeff, I guess. So I guess it's just me running the Sports with Strawberry Ice. So what's going on, everybody? Why don't we? Okay. So let's keep talking about the Bengals here. So I did a piece on Stripe Hype. You guys can go there now, and it talks about the run game, and it talks about Jamar Chase's ability in the run game, and what he's done is something really quite amazing. I haven't really seen a rookie wide receiver do this when he's been a rookie. I haven't really seen a lot of wide receivers do this. You go back and you look at the all 22 film, which is basically the eye in the sky. It basically watches everybody here. And you basically see Jamar Chase blocking his ass off every single play on every single run play. And he's been able to push through the line. He's been able to get through, and he's been able to basically create all of these plays for Joe Mixon and get these blocks downfield that has turned those 5-yard gains into 10-yard, 15-yard, 20-yard gains. And those gains that continually move the chains and keep the offense flowing. Now, on top of that, that's not only like helping us in yardage and actual playing, it's that body language. It's being able to come out and bulldoze teams and bulldoze players, and everybody else feeds off of that. They're feeding off of Jamar Chase. They're feeding off of that. So absolutely, there you are, but dude, I've been knocking this out.
Oh, dude, you're killing it. I have no clue what the heck happened.
It's all right. It's all right. I was just doing my own plugs over here. It's like I got this over here. I got that over here.
Oh
What
my
is
goodness.
going on in the comments over here?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna put somebody in timeout here. I don't know what the heck that one is. Get rid of that one right there.
Yeah, Jeff, what have you been watching there, guy?
Not me, brother. Not me.
Yeah,
Not me
there.
at all. I haven't watched anything. I got knocked off my own freaking show. I'm like, what is going on here? So anyway, I don't even know
really
where we
weird.
were at. We were talking about the Bengals. I know.
We were talking about the Bengals, so I'll bring up to you what I was kind of talking with the comment section here. We were talking about basically we were talking about Jamar Chase and his ability in the run game. Now I did a piece on this during or on Stripe Hype. You can go read it now. It's out.
Yes, I did read that. Great article.
Thank you. And it talks about how Jamar Chase, not only does he make incredible plays when he has the ball in his hands, it's all about the times where he doesn't have the ball in his hands. And what does he do? Because a lot of wide receivers and a lot of rookie wide receivers don't want to get their hands dirty. Jamar Chase is the exact opposite. Jamar Chase goes out there and he blocks and he throws his weight around and he manhandles some guys. He is so much stronger than a lot of other players on the field. And then on top of that, so not only does it do that for the team, it does a lot for the players' mentality, does a lot for the players', body language and how they act. They see a rookie wide receiver doing that, they know they can.
Well, you just remember the block he had in Detroit, on Joe Mixon's long run.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
That's right. And he's not the only one that does that, which is great. All of the Bengals wide receivers are into blocking. It's not it's not. Sorry.
Hear this awesome intro again. Yeah.
I lost everything. So once I got knocked off, I had to bring that back up again because like yesterday it did the same thing and knocked me off, and then I lost everything. I'm like, holy crap. So,
I was having bad technical difficulties yesterday. My fire alarm went off 3 times when I was on the radio well, on the Ed Robinson show. And I'm like, I had to keep running out of the house, turning it off to turning it back on. Terrible. Terrible.
Exactly. All right, we got some guys who wanted to talk about the Major League Baseball lockout. Now, I don't know, is it actually official? Do you know if they're actually locked out or not for sure?
I'll be honest. I don't follow baseball until college basketball's done. Then
Yeah, okay.
once the season, I did.
And honestly, with what the Reds are doing, which is nothing,
Yes,
it's kind of it's kind of hard to really. There's not a whole lot to pay attention to with the Reds. So
yeah.
that's where I haven't. I like talking about the Reds, but they haven't done anything to actually talk about them yet. But I will say this real quick about the Reds. If the Reds were able to do anything this offseason, I do think that they have a chance to have a quality baseball team because of their starting rotation and because of who they will have. That even if they trade Sonny Gray, I think because you got Green and Nick Lodolo. Those two I think are going to be very good pitchers for the Reds. You still got Luis Castillo, you got Gutierrez, and you got Tyler Mahle, and those two I think our pitching staff will be okay. They got to improve the bullpen. They got to improve the bench. Hope to God that they signed Nick Castellanos, but right now they're not doing anything. So that's my Reds talk for today.
What the hell is going on?
You lost your light.
What is going? I'll say this about the Reds. I'll say one thing about the Reds. If the Bengals did any inch of what the Reds have done this past offseason, they would be calling for Mike Brown's head.
Yes.
And they would, and they would get it. And they would go get it. And they would go get it. And the national media would go get it.
I've said that a million times.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah, no, I've said that a million times. If Mike Brown were to do what Castellini's done the last 2 years, I'd be like, oh my God, we can't spend any money. I'm not going. But the Reds, they're like, I think it's getting to the point now, though, where fans are like, this is ridiculous. And I don't think fans want him to spend $129 million. Just spend something to improve the ball club, is what I think. Right. So, all right, let's roll into the Bearcats basketball team, which, like Terry says here, we got them playing here in about 45 minutes. They will be playing the University of Miami.
Ohio,
yes. And actually, University of Miami, Ohio is actually a pretty good basketball team this year. I think they're undefeated at this time. Oh, no, I think they lost. I think they lost their last game. Either undefeated, they got one loss. I can't remember which. Either way, my opinion with Wes Miller and the way he has started out the season, I'm very excited with what he's done. I'm also kind of disappointed with the last two games. I think we should be 7-0. I think we should have won both these games. Oh, yeah. I think they lost the offensive structure that they had at the beginning of the year. The last two games, to me, there was too many three-point shots, not enough ball movement, not enough putting the ball at the top of the key, trying to kick it out, two-man game, high-low post, none of that stuff was working. All because the last game, Presbyterian just put them in the zone, and UC never – one, they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with their shots. Right. Second of all, they never tried to work the ball inside. So those are things that I think they have to try to work on to improve, to get back to where they were when they were 5-0, which Wes Miller is the very first Bearcat head basketball coach to be 5-0 to start his Bearcat basketball career.
I mean, let's just add that to the growing pains of what this Bearcat basketball team is going to go through. I mean, again, this is going to be a team that's going to be right on the fringe of March Madness. These teams that are these, teams like the UC basketball, we're going to have to watch out for those games against effing Monmouth. I almost dropped the F-bomb here. So you can't.
Who knows? We might have kids watching in the car. Who knows?
Right, exactly. And I listen. I understand that. You're going to drop a game or two. Get it. But that's got to be the only one.
Yes.
Of that type. That's it. There cannot be any more. If you expect this team to make the tournament without winning the AAC, which they still can win the AAC, you go to that tournament, anything could happen.
Well,
UC's been there the past 3 years.
Memphis could get better, but Memphis didn't look that good to me when I watched them play the other night. Now Houston does. I think Houston.
Well, Houston in their loss, they didn't look good.
That's true.
Houston in their loss, they did not look good. So I think this is going to be a growing pains here. I get that, and we all got hyped up because the start was so good. It's going to be a growing pains here, and again, Wes Miller's the guy. That's it. We're locking in.
Oh yeah, I think we got. Let's be honest. He has the most wins for a coach under 40. I mean,
Right,
that's
exactly.
that. You can't get much better than
That's
that.
not nothing. Yeah,
No, that's
right,
not nothing at
exactly.
all. So, I mean, I do think we have ourselves a very good basketball coach, and we already know we have a very good football coach. So,
Mhm.
hopefully, we will be able to keep both of them. Now, Matthew here says, and I agree with him. He said, "Wish the Bearcats would sign with Jordan Brand again and move away from the Under Armour deal." I've
You and
heard
me both,
rumors
brother.
that Under Armour was trying to buy everybody out. All if they wanted to get out of the college game. I heard that like 2 years ago, and I heard that UC was going to go sign with Nike or Jordan, but none of that's happened. So I'm
Right.
hoping they get back to it. And I always like to say this too is everybody has to remember back in the 90s, and they talk about Michigan being the original Jordan brand for college. That's not true. The original Jordan brand was
Get
the
out of
University of
here.
Cincinnati Bearcat basketball team. They are the original team that wore the Jordan, little man up in the corner. That was us. Now,
The OG Jordan.
it's just, I mean, Josh, that kind of brings me to where Cincinnati doesn't get credit for things. Like, let's be honest. The no huddle offense, which turned into the K gun offense for the Buffalo Bills,
Mhm.
started in Cincinnati. Like all
Yeah.
the offenses, all these no huddle spread them out offenses, that all started here. The Jordan brand, the very first school to have a Jordan brand was Cincinnati. There's so many things
Mhm.
that start here that we don't get credit for.
The West Coast hell, the West Coast
Yes,
offense. For some
yes.
reason, it's called the West Coast offense. It was started in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Which does make. I mean, I understand it's probably used out in the West Coast a ton, but the West Coast offense was started in Cincinnati. You're right. We
Absolutely.
don't get enough credit for a lot that goes around. I was watching a Good Mythical Morning. I don't know when, way back in the day, and I remember they were talking about the original chili dog. And it wasn't Cincinnati's chili dog, and I was like, "What am I looking at?" Right. Like, that is some BS right there. That's us. That's literally us. That's all we're known for. That's it.
I know. It's
Jesus
Skyline
Christ.
chili, but it's delicious. I love
Oh,
Skyline.
oh my gosh.
Actually,
Okay,
the
so
funny thing, the
real
people who sit behind me, they wouldn't got because at the stadium you can only get Gold Star, so they
right.
got themselves a crave case. They're like, "Hey, you want one?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Do you want the sauce on it?" I said, "The sauce." I mean, you mean the chili? Like, yeah, but absolutely. So I had one. I had with everything on it. I had one left, and apparently I didn't realize there was no chili on it. So I said, "Where you going?
This is a hot dog.
This tastes dry. It's missing something." I'm like,
You ate the whole thing and didn't even
I,
realize it.
I ate it anyway. Yeah, I was hungry. So, but I've never had a hot dog with just cheese. That's all it was, and bread. It's kind of
Hot
like what?
dog with just cheese. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Hmm.
very interesting.
Yeah.
It was unsatisfactory. I'll put it that way.
Unsatisfactory. Yeah.
See, we're both using big words today. Very
Big
proud of us.
words. Big words.
All right, man. Well, it's about 6:30. I think we're rolling out of here. Bearcat basketball is starting here at 7 o'clock, which is only on ESPN Plus. Of course, we can't ever get on ESPN.
Mhm.
Hopefully, that'll change when we get to Big 12, but
Yep.
we will see. So, you got any parting words for the viewers here, Josh? You got anything going on? I know you got your article, your podcast, and all that stuff going on.
Yeah, I might as well plug my stuff here. All right, that's what she said. But anyway, so
That's what she
basically,
said.
you can find my podcast, the Back Row Bengals Show. You pretty much find it anywhere you can find podcasts, or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, whatever. And then also on top of that, you can find a lot of my articles. You can go to fansided.com. And then on top of that, you can go to the Bengals side of that. You'll find my articles there. There's a new one out now, talks about Jamar Chase and talk about how much of an impact he has had, not only in the passing game, but the run game. And then on top of that, we're going to have a show tonight, hopefully, about the college football playoff. And then tomorrow we'll be back at it for Back Row Bengals. We're going to be previewing the Bengals Chargers game. You doing anything tomorrow, Jeff?
Gonna be on your show.
There you go. So we'll have Strawberry Ice on to be previewing the Bengals Chargers game. So that'll be good. We'll probably go around 5:30, somewhere around there. That's usually pretty good. And get my nap in and then get
You
back
need a
up
little
to
nappy? Does Josh
Man,
need a little nap?
dude, I am gassed when I get home. Dealing with these freaking kids is something. Trying to get these kids. It's like, just sit in your seat. Just sit in your seat. That's all I want.
So
That's it.
you don't like student or substitute teaching?
I love it. No, I love it. It's
Yeah.
just these kids are just like what are you doing? Like I love it. I love the school and I love the kids, but like this is like just sit there. Just sit. The kids do some of the dumbest things ever. But it's hilarious.
Just think,
I
Josh,
think
I
it's
used to be
funny.
you.
Yeah, I know. Oh no, I was a good boy. I was a good boy. My dad was worked in my district, so anything that happened went right to him. And I got home, and that was it. So I had to be a good boy.
I got you. All right, Josh, I appreciate you. So I guess you're going to see us on Josh's show tomorrow. And actually, if we're going to do it at 5:30, I might just not even I might not do my show. I'll just be on Josh's show tomorrow at 5:30. How about that?
There you go. All right. Sounds good, y'all. All right, Jeff, thank you so much for having me on. Love you so much. Let's do this again tomorrow.
Who day?
Who day?
All right, guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. So let's get to the Facebook groups that let me live stream. I would recommend all of you guys to go there and check them out there. Who Day Nation, Who Day Legion, Bearcat Ruckus, Bearcat Country, the Ohio State Bucknuts, Cincinnati Reds, riding third, heading from the Ice Bar. And then you follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Trunapole. TikTok is at Iceman90. I'll be pulling the sound off later on tonight. So if you want to hear some of this great conversation that me and Josh had, and you don't want to watch us, check it out on the podcast. It's on BeanPod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Give me a 5-star review. Leave a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. I would greatly appreciate it. YouTubers, you guys are awesome. We're at 1,417 subscribers. That is awesome. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Josh is an idiot. I'm just saying that right now. He's being silly in the waiting room. Oh, anyway, we got the Bearcats basketball tonight. We got football this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to get to it. So just to give you guys a heads up, since I'm going to be on Josh's show tomorrow at 5:30, I'm not going to do my show. I'll just do his show. So if you guys want to check us both out on Back Row Bengals, check it out on YouTube, and you check it out on in the podcast fan side, I think it's on too. And other than that, as my boy Jeremy Dimebag These Nuts likes to say, remember one thing, and one thing only, and that is you don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati, so act like it. Who Day? Let's go watch the Bearcats hopefully whoop up on the Miami of Ohio basketball team and get back on the winning side of the season. And other than that, that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Let's go. Stripes, 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 yeah. Stripes, 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 yeah. Stripes, 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 yeah. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and Cincinnati we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and drippin' orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle drippin' heat, tigers strike the city streets. East side stand up, west side stand up. If you reppin' who day, time to put your hands up. Dingle stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Who day in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle drippin'. Nasty, natty, yeah, we live it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feastin' now. Fit the pounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and drippin' orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Stripes. Now who wanna move dancing on? Stripes. Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange upon 'em.